Hi everyone! Welcome to our channel. We are Madam Cacti and we're here now in our greenhouse. We're located based in Texas, in Brazoria, and we've been collecting and specialized Astrophytum. So I welcome you here with our channel so that we can grow together more Astrophytum and have beautiful plants. So today we're going to cover the most fascinating species in the genus, and this is Astrophytum. Astrophytum Caput Medusae is one of the known 6 species of the genus Astrophytum. Unlike the 5 other species in the genus, Astrophytum Caput Medusae do not carry that normal ribbing that the other 5 species has. Instead, it has this fascinating tubercles, and these tubercles will grow long, and it really don't like any other Astrophytum. The look of this plant really reminds of the Medusa head. That's why probably it's called, Caput Medusa. And this plant here, is you can see, it carries the normal trichome patterning that the species of Astrophytum has. This white scaly looking tuft around its body, which is the very known characteristic of Astrophytum. This plant here was discovered just not very long time ago, probably 20 something years. And before, I've heard a story that it was discovered when it was flowering, because in the habitat you cannot see this. This plant here is grafted. This is grafted to Cactus geometricans. That's why the tubercles is fat. But in the habitat, if you grow this from seeds, the tubercles are very thin. So can you imagine in the habitat that it probably resembles and mimic the grass around it. It develops tuberous roots. So the tubers is just like this one here. So this is outside up because this is grafted. The reason is most of my Caput Medusa here in the garden are grafted because they are very slow growing. At the same time, I've noticed, at least here in my microclimate, that they are very sensitive to repotting. But the only way that I can keep them alive is to either graft them or do not disturb the root system at all. So I have plants over there that are just stayed in a pot for several years already, and I haven't disturbed the roots yet. So Astrophytum Caput Medusa, in each tubercles, it carries one areole. So areole of the plant is in charge for the exchange of gases, and each areole of the Astrophytum Caput Medusa has the ability to push flowers, which is the main point for reproduction, making seeds. And aside from that, each areole also has the capability to push pups. So just like this, the baby Medusa will also come out from the areoles. Probably in the habitat it will fall and then it will create roots. That's how its propagation process. So the growth point of the Astrophytum Caput Medusa is from the center. So if you notice with your plant, if you have existing Astrophytum Caput Medusa, do not get stressed if your Caput Medusa is starting wrinkling. So just like this plant here. So it's a normal habit or growth pattern for Astrophytum Caput Medusa to dry out the outer or the older tubercles. So as it dried out the older tubercles, the new tubercles gonna emerge. So it's a continuous process during the growing seasons, shedding. So that's the normal pattern for the Astrophytum Caput Medusa. So propagation wise, you can propagate the plant by seeds, and you can propagate it by pops too. Astrophytum Caput Medusa when it flowers, it's amazing because it has that sweet smell. That's what makes it super unique too, because none of all the species in the genus Astrophytum has scent. Maybe they have a little scent, but it's not like the Astrophytum Caput Medusae flower. The flower scent is very strong and sweet. It's like even if you close your eyes, you're gonna know that it's your medusa that's flowering. The best way that I can describe it is that climbing night blooming jasmine in the backyard, when it flowers, you will know that it's a night blooming jasmine. It's the same scenario with the Astrophytum Caput Medusae. Astrophytum Caput Medusae is a slow growing plant. So this plant here was sown June 2024, so it's almost 2 years old. So this plant here is been growing here for a while now, and look at this. There's the tuberous roots, and it has like couple of plants here, so it needs to be separated this growing season. But what I do here in my garden is that I don't really separate them. Instead, I pot them together like a community pot. So what I do when I do repot this one is I just remove this pot here and just add soil around it. So this plant here are older specimens that I have. It is potted together as well, so it probably has like 20 or so plants in here, and they look like grass, but they're very fascinating to look at when you do community potting. So here in my area in Texas, I stopped doing, you know, like individual potting for them. I just do the community pot because they look, you know, very nice being, you know, together. I've learned over the years that, you know, there's nothing wrong with grafting plants, you know. As much as I love the rooted plant, but Astrophytum Caput Medusae is an exemption for me because it's a slow growing plant, and it's kind of like has a sensitive root system. So I feel like grafting is the only way to keep it. And like this plant here, this is grafted to Myrtilla cactus geometricans, and it's been doing happily for 3 years in the same pot. And then would you believe that these guys here are also grafted? So what I did is that their same batch that I graft, what I did is that I pick a deeper pot and then bury the rootstock, and then now it looks very normal. You can't even notice that this is a grafted specimen. So this is one trick to do if you don't like the grafted look. And when I do this pot here, it was at first the rootstock is showing just like so, and then as the time passes, you know, the soil seeded and everything settled down, and it's now perfect looking. So now we're gonna do some maintenance on our guy here, because like I said earlier, it's normal for Astrophytum Caput Medusae to dry out, you know, older leaves. So it's spring now, so it's time to do it. So what we're gonna do is to just remove all this dried leaves. What you need to keep in mind is that the drying should be just concentrated in the outer or the old leaves. When you see drying up from the center, that's not a good news. So that's a bad sign. So if that happens, you have to check the root system and investigate. And if you have to do quick grafting to save the plant, then do it. And what I like about the Astrophytum Caput Medusae also is that this is endangered species. Actually, it's critically endangered species. So doing this, taking care of this plant and growing this seems like, well, we are contributing something for the existing of this species. Thank you for watching. Please continue to support us by clicking the subscribe button, and let's grow Astrophytum together, and see you on the next one.